Moving onward to our next session, that is panel discussion on adoption of omni-channel customer strategy to enhance customer engagement and create seamless experience. I invite our moderator, Mr. Aditya Singh, VP of Product Management Service Cloud at Salesforce India, to please join us on the dais. I also request the fellow panelists, Mr. Vikram Singh, Head of Customer Experience at PVR Limited, Mr. Krishna Mishra, Head of Information Technology, Subros Limited, Mr. Rajneesh Virmani, CIO Advisor at Zoom, Mr. Irshad Safi, Director ID and Digitization CDIO, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Company, Mr. Angad Wadia, VP of Operations and Customer Excellence and Head of Strategic Initiatives at Bajaj Capital. Can we have a huge round of applause before we comment? Over to you, Mr. Aditya Singh.
Thank you. As was mentioned, the topic of today's discussion is, how is the adoption of omni-channel, right, customer strategy, helping in, enhancing the customer experience, right, and customer engagement. So to, kick things off, firstly I want to, thank the panel for being here. But I'd like to, start with, Mr. Rajneesh, and basically ask you, how has the concept of omni-channel evolved in the context of customer engagement, and what are the key benefits it offers compared to traditional channel strategies?
So thank you. Thanks for the question. So yeah, I've been lucky over the course of so many years that have gone by. I've been at a CIO, a COO, a CEO level of multiple large organizations, multinational companies. And I've seen this evolution that you're talking of. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was running large contact centers, over 10,000 people plus, there were no omni-channel pieces. It was voice. Either you write an email to me or you speak with me as an organization. And I'm talking of large progressive organizations like American Express and like Aviva and so on and so forth. So banking, insurance, and so on and so forth. But you could write, as a customer, you could write an email, you could, chatbots came. When was chatbots first invented? Any idea? Any idea? Any guesses? Yeah, 1966. But in terms of practical usage, I guess the computing power has just about come up. So you hear of chatbots much more in the last 5, 10 years rather than going back so many years. But anyway, so whether I do a chat, whether I do an email, whether I do a audio, today the concept of video, for example, video is the new audio. If I have a customer query, sure, I'll call up. If it's a small query, I'll write a chat note. Otherwise, I'll call up on phone. But if I have to escalate, if there's a dispute that I want to have with this organization, then I would have preferred a video even 10 years ago, but unfortunately technology was not that, and the networking was not that stable. So come fast forward to today, and video is the name of the game. In fact, today, you can even go to those interactive kiosks and make sure that there. So multitude of channels exist for the customer to get in touch with. Of course, if I really want to complain, then there is social media available as well. But if I want to have a conversation with the company, then there are multiple channels available.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Rajneesh. That was really interesting that you mentioned things like video, right? Which wasn't really a channel until very recently due to the processing power. Vikram, from your time at PVR, how would you answer that question of how omni-channel has evolved and how it compares to traditional channels?
Thank you for inviting me. Well, I'm sure everyone is going to talk from the company's perspective, but let me put a consumer perspective here. Do we have a choice? Consumer is available everywhere. They have multiple channels on their phones to deal with brands. I don't think that we are really left with any choice right now. every company or most companies who are consumer centric have to be omni-channel. And as a consumer, I don't want to have a fragmented experiences. So when I'm speaking to someone in call center versus when I'm writing on social media versus when I am, you know, chatting with someone, I need to have similar kind of answers. I need to have similar kind of history of me as a consumer with the company, because that was the biggest drawback of disjointed channels. Because when I were earlier, when you are calling a call center, you have to explain everything, then get to a solution possibly. But let's say, for example, you don't have your calls are not working, you have to write an email or you have to go on social media, then that team had no clue of what you have been doing with the call center till now. Now, this was the disjointed experience. The possibilities are there. See, sir just said that the chatbots were available since 66, but nobody was using them. So it is really the power of omni-channel, and we keep saying omni-channel. Ultimately, it is the power of data, which is the layer working behind these channels. So I don't think we have an option but to have a really good omni-channel experience.
No, that's very helpful. Just following up on that a little bit, you talked about data. That was going to be a follow-up that I had was what specifically, let's say within your organization or other organizations, have you seen that have allowed us to kind of capture that, right, and really make sure that the omni-channel strategy is successful compared to what it was with traditional channels.
So, as any organization, I think initially we also struggled with creating that kind of experience because of a very simple fact that, like most of the companies, we were using multiple different softwares. So you had one for service, you had one for gift cards, you had one for loyalty, you had one for something else. But there was no platform which was getting that data, and you are creating a consumer 360. So unless you have a consumer 360, none of the omni-channel works. You don't even have the proper information about the consumer. So unless you know your consumer well, you will never be able to serve him. And I'll give you a classic example. In any service industries, you will face both kind of consumers, those who are really great and those who are frivolous. So there are consumers who will come to you repeatedly for refunds, for re-services and all of that. But unless you have your data sorted from all the channels, you will never know that this consumer is frivolous or really a loyalist. Once you can categorize him based on the different parts of the business, and so to have a clear consumer 360, that's when your marketing will be sharper, your service will be sharper. You can directly take a call. You don't have to go to multiple places by saying what should be my DON for this particular consumer. That can be defined based on the segment. Now, I think the biggest win in today's world is not the omni-channel experience. Omni-channel is given these days. I think the biggest win is how well your data is sorted.
Thank you. That's very insightful. Switching gears a bit, now that we understood, the importance of omni-channel, I'd like to, ask Angad, how do you measure the effectiveness, right, of the omni-channel strategy in terms of, customer, satisfaction, retention? What are some of the metrics and KPIs, that you use?
Thank you for that question, Aditya. And let me begin by saying it's an honor to be a part of this group of thinkers who are going to redefine customer experience's future. My name is Angad. I represent Bajaj Capital. I run strategy and operations for them. Now, I would like to begin this answer with a little demonstration, which also adds on to what the importance of omni-channel experience is. Let's say all of us, right? If I were to ask each one of you, what was your preferred mode of getting in touch with the company 10 years back versus what it is now? Anybody wants to go first? Phone, email, chat, social media, what do you prefer first and where do you go next?
I'll go for chat.
Maybe phone versus video.
Phone versus video.
It's depend upon the situation. Might be Twitter can work in some of the cases.
Yeah,
If it is really hard to get some solution.
yeah,
That depends on the situation we are.
right. But your preferred mode, I mean, would you call, would you go on Twitter straight away?
No, if I have the option to call, I will call.
You'll call first.
I mean, personally speaking, I like chat. It's asynchronous and allows me to communicate when I'm free.
Perfect. So this was a quick demonstration to show what customers prefer, right? It's not an option you have anymore to choose the platforms that you want to be available on. It's important for you. You'll have to be there because not everybody is comfortable calling. Not everybody wants to chat. Not everybody wants to straight away go obliterating your reputation on Twitter. So everybody has their own preference, and this is why a omni-channel approach, a strategy is important. However, what I'd like to also add to that is it's not just being available on those channels, right? It's not just about I have a brand page on LinkedIn, I am on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm connecting with the audience everywhere. That's sufficient. Like my colleague here said, data is the next thing. Obviously, you have to leverage all that information that you pull out from these platforms, use that to service your customers better by predicting what they would want next. I would do a sentiment analysis to figure out what feature of what product that I'm offering is the problem. These are the data points that will actually help me make changes. Now, when it comes to the measurement of an effective program, traditionally, customer experience leaders, we've been going to the management, to the board, and talking about how our NPS is going up in a trend, how our CSAT is going great. But there's sometimes there's clapping, there's appreciation, but that's about it, right? We still end up being that cost center, like Anamika said. We would still be a cost center to the management, to the board. Any investment that you want to fix your customer experience or make it better will still be a cost to the company, right? So when it comes to the true measurement of an omni-channel experience, I would say we emerge as the most important department there is. How? Because we don't just service the problems that the customers are facing, we also are the place where all the data gets collected, understood, and then a feedback loop is created that goes to the marketing team. Marketing team uses that customer analytics, that voice of customer, to form better campaigns, better targeting, better positioning to bring the cost of acquisition down. While we do that, we are also responsible for the customer retention. So one way, CAC is going down. One way, we are increasing the retention and hence the lifetime value of the customer. But the only failure on part of a lot of companies and CX leaders we do is we don't really talk about it. We don't really present it in our presentations and say that we're not a cost center, we are a revenue center. We are actually fixing your customer acquisition costs for you. We're actually driving the referrals that are bringing the customer costs down. This is the true measure I think we can use to A, show that we are effective. B, when it comes to the data leveraging that we just spoke of, with the technologies that are available today, like chatbots was being spoken of, all of the technologies with the big data mining that you can do, right? All your analytics, all your data that you collect from various platforms with the customer engagement, you use that information to run predictive analytics of what the customer churn is going to be. What will be the lifetime value that you'll be able to create? All of that ties down beautifully in this entire scheme of things. And ending with a great result in the business objectives, which is the bottom line. We will effectively be driving the bottom line.
That's really interesting that you talk about how not just sticking to cost cutting, right? But figuring out how do you tie this back to revenue generating mechanisms. Just one quick follow-up question to that, Anga, was there any change management typically required, right, when you're doing this sort of thing within the organization? of changing that perception from, just purely cost cutting to, revenue generating? Were there any, tips or tricks that you would, provide the audience here on how you go about changing that mindset?
Well, I think it was part of what I spoke of. I would not even go with just NPS or RTF. Used to have it in Amex, NPS or CSAT scores. I would simply go ahead and change the narrative. We'll say that we improve the customer experience to bring the CAC down, to drive the referral, improve the LTV. And once I have shown a positive LTV, the investment that I then ask for in the customer experience tools, I would show in ROI form, like we were just discussing outside, Aditya and I, that how does Salesforce now offer more than just an omni-channel platform, a communication platform. It's not a communication platform anymore. You're also offering data insights. Like this cohort of the customer is going to be the most likely cohort that will buy my upsell, whatever I'm trying to upsell. This is the most likely cohort because they have been rating me positively. They have a great experience with the brand. They also are of the certain age group and desires that they will be the target segment for me. This entire chain will help us upsell while we are also a customer experience unit.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, switching gears a bit, a lot of the discussion so far this morning was about AI, right? AI and automation. So I want to see, how, in what ways, right, do we use AI and automation to enhance omni-channel strategies, particularly in addressing customer inquiries. And would love to get Irshad, your perspective on this, and then following up with that with Krishna Kant. So Irshad, you want to
Sure,
provide
thank
your
you.
input first?
Firstly, it's an honor for me to be here, sharing a stage with the co-panelist and a great audience. I'm Irshad, representing Sam and Company. And coming back to the question, similar to what Rajneesh has asked about when the chatbot actually emerged in the world, may I know when do you think artificial intelligence could have been emerged? Any guesses? Okay, let me flip the question. When did you think generative AI emerged in the world? Okay. Well, the Gen AI is definitely in 2022 when the Chat GPT came, and AI has been there for more than 50 years for sure. I also don't remember the exact year and a month, but it has been there for a very, very long time. Now, interestingly, when we talk about the omni-channel experience, I think there cannot be a greater time than today to leverage the generative AI into all facets of the omni-channel experience. As you know, the Chat GPT simply allows you to have a natural conversation with your platforms. And truly what it can do is, it can help you to increase the satisfaction of the conversations that you're having with the customer. It can bring down the time frame that it takes to resolve those queries. I'll give you a simple example of this morning that I had with myself. I was interacting with a bank application via a chatbot. My simple query to the bank was that how many loyalty points do I have in my account? I said, look, I want to know how many loyalty points do I have in my accounts as a prompt that I gave into the chatbot. Guess the answer. Again, conventional. It said, okay, here are the links, go through these links, go through these steps, and you will know it. I said, no, I need the answer here. And he said, okay, hold on, I'll have you to connect with an agent. Then the agent came, and agent asked me a very simple question, okay, I'm here to help you, blah, 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 good morning. Can you help me with the verification? Once the verification was done, then it actually told me the available points that I have into my account. So imagine the customer experience that it has created to me. It has taken me a few minutes to really go and solve that answer. If you were to integrate Gen AI with this entire experience, we already have the systems. The systems are interconnected. We have the data sets. The only thing that is required, and I know majority of the banking and financial companies, the customer support companies. I think everybody is working on trying and testing the Gen AI technology for their own advantages and improving the customer experience. But imagine if the Gen AI was completely plugged into this example. I would go ask the same question. It will say, okay, hold on, give me these verifications, and it will just, boom, give me the answer. So the 2 minutes that I may have probably spent in the morning, I think the result could have come only in few seconds. So my simple advice to everybody here with this great, lovely audience is that Gen AI is there. And for the omni-channel experience, I think there are a number of use cases being tried and tested across the world as we speak. So it is on us to really embrace this technology and see how we can really use it for our own advantages. Thanks.
Yeah. Just one minute, Krishna. I think what you said makes a lot of sense, right? With the advent of Gen AI, the customer experience and expectations have also changed, right? A few years ago, maybe you wouldn't have necessarily expected a bot to answer that, right? You would have maybe waited for an agent, but now, with the advancement technology, the expectation from the customer is that, hey, give me this answer now. Why do I need to talk to someone to get a simple answer if you have my data? So a very good point. Krishna,
So, thanks for inviting me here. And I'm Krishna Mishra and I'm heading IT at Subros Limited. And Subros Limited is one of the leading automotive air conditioning manufacturing company. When we are talking about how omni-channel experience is impacting, and when Angad had asked the question, my answer was Twitter. And it was because of I mentioned that situations. How this point came into my mind, because we are in process of setting up railway air conditioners, where the Twitter is one of the fastest method to approach and raise your request. One of the most critical discussion point for providing the faster solution was to ensure that our sales team, our service team should be able to handle the Twitters and should be able to handle that how they will be reading the responses which is coming on the railways handle, because when someone will raise a ticket, a issue, they will simply drop a issue and it will be for the in this particular coach, this AC is not working in the running train and they expect it should be resolved in the next station. Incidentally, our ACs are running in 2 racks of Vande Bharat. The journey time is 6 hours. Within 6 hours, we needed to resolve the issue that the fastest method is the Twitter at that time. So, we should have the system which is completely integrated, and we should have the AI, API integrated with the railway so that our team knows that how it should be and when the ticket has been raised, when the issue has been started. So when we are talking about AI, a lot of use cases are there for the omni-channel experience. We as a OEM, we as a service provider should be able to handle the different ways of issues which is getting raised at different levels, and should have some environment which should be able to give the comprehensive feedback to my engineers. Now, it's altogether different type of experience or different types of things which might have coming from the different industries. Predictive analysis is one of the best part what we should expect, and accordingly we should give the reply to our customer. So our AI engine should be giving the right type of feedback that when this particular part might become fail and how I should be ready to resolve those issues, and what type of query the next customer may ask. Now for it's altogether different use cases what I am finding. We had found some strange type of problem in Thar where our ACs are fitted, and the problem was running only to the coastal areas and our AC was having some issues. So those issues was getting handled differently. So omni-channel experience is very much critical for us because sometime users are commenting, is going to the service center, talking to your service advisor for the issues, then they are raising the complaints. Sometimes they are raising the issues to the OEMs because if sometimes issues are not getting resolved. So the multiple ways of resolving the issues is critical, and predictive analysis is one of the things what I feel that going to happen in the future. Uh, Integration with the Gen AI is for sure going to be more in the going forward as part of the future, but uses of AI will be increased at least to identify the problem and giving the faster solution going forward.
Thank you for that, lovely insight. On, a separate note, when we think about data analytics, right, Vikram, this is a question for you. What role, does it play, right, in when we think of omni-channel, and specifically around, delivering a personalized experience for customers?
Um, so data is everything here. See, we have omni-channel experience, and we have been giving omni-channel experience from quite some time now. I think I will try and explain this with an example. So let's say, for example, you are going to your movie. The moment you reach the movie, the moment you scan your ticket at the entrance, I know that Aditya has entered. Now I have almost 4-5 years of data of Aditya. I know what kind of snacking habits you have. I know what you like. I know what you have never ordered. Let's say, for example, I have a new product which I want to pitch you. I can pitch you directly, then and there, the moment you get in. So the idea is to know that, from the data we always know that Aditya is anyway going to order Pepsi and popcorn. So there is no point giving him Pepsi and popcorn, because what you are trying to do is, let's say, for example, hypothetically, if it is for $100, you are trying to give the same thing in 90 rupees, which he is anyway going to buy at 100. So that is the power of data. I mean, you can try and pitch him one more product. So let's say, for example, I serve about 14 crore consumers in a year. So if half of them order one more item, it's a humongous amount of money. That's the power of data that we are using.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty powerful, experience. I was trying to switch to Diet Pepsi, but that's a separate matter altogether. But I think what you're trying to say is, how do you increase, right, the average order value, even if you do it, by, for each customer by a small amount, that can lead to a ton of revenue.
Practically, the point is, if you can leverage the data in such a way, the entire cost of managing your omni-channel and your data comes out of it very easily.
Fantastic. I mean, you used a very pertinent example, and so would love to hear about other examples from Rajneesh this time. You around can you share some examples of successful omni-channel strategies that you've seen that have improved customer engagement?
Absolutely. In fact, today is a big day for Zoom because they've just launched a whole collaboration platform. So they used to be like a video conferencing tool many years ago. Today they're repositioning themselves entirely. It's called Zoom Workplace. And they're reintroducing themselves to the market as a collaboration tool, not just a video. How many of you use Zoom? Just as a raised show of hands. So virtually everybody. And that's the example I wanted to give you. I'm a CIO advisor for Zoom here in India. And when I started off my discussion, it was all the omni-channel methods that the customer can contact us, can contact any organization, whether financial, any services, or in fact even manufacturing setup. But look at, so Zoom first of all provides all that. So whether I want to get in touch with any company via video, audio, chat, and you name it, and etc., email, etc., scheduler, you can actually now even schedule a call with a call agent and so on and so forth. So all the channels are supported. Also, it's if you look at the back office piece, 10 years ago, when I was heading up the American Express contact center, for example, here, there was a quality officer, and the quality officer would audit a few calls for the agent, and based on that, give feedback, and the process improvement cycle used to. Today, thanks to AI that we just spoke of, actually, we can have 100% sampling. You can have 100% sampling, and the feedback can go that much faster to the agent. There is a virtual agent, in fact, who helps the agent, the person who's on the phone, saying, hey, this guy, and exactly the metrics that you guys spoke of earlier, where, this is one person who will be acceptable if you try and cross-sell. This one person probably don't try and cross-sell to him or her, and so on and so forth. So there is a virtual agent that actually helps out on a real-time basis as well. So the whole quality check piece, the whole virtual agent piece, the whole productivity piece. So you may say, why am I talking about productivity and quality when we are talking of customer experience? Actually, both these things are only helping out in terms of the end customer contact. So we have a holistic 360-degree view that Zoom as one tool, so without shuffling across multiple aspects, is able to handle.
That's a fantastic example. I think you touched upon something that often gets overlooked but is key around just the coaching and even real-time feedback that you can give agents and a system goes a long way with the customer experience journey. The next topic that I want to talk about was around emerging trends and technologies and how they're reshaping customer engagement. How would you say organizations should adapt to stay ahead in this dynamic landscape? I'll start with you, Angad, with your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Aditya. Okay, so we already have spoken about a few of those initiatives, a few of those advancements. Let me tie this up together by saying AI ML, okay, what does it do really? Let's start with the basic version, which is an omni-channel communication tool. There's a tool that we all use now, and we engage with customers in all platforms. When you upgrade it with AI ML capabilities, what you now do is you leverage all that interaction, all that customer behavior, all that likelihood of the customer to sell or buy your product or buy a different product, a cross-sell product. You use that to leverage the capabilities now that you have. You can now have AI ML plugged in where you will be able to predict the customer's wants, but you'll also be able to personalize all of that. Now your targeting and your positioning with that customer is very, very accurate because you practically know everything that they like. That's where AI ML does. Now I want to focus on the technology behind AI ML, right? How do you make those conclusions? You use big data. Big data comes in and you use that. There's another technology that is great at play here, like an example my PVR colleague gave about that scanning of the ticket, right? There's where IoT comes in place. All of these technologies that are connecting the physical world with digital, that's all data that's out for the grabs. All of that data, all of that little piece of information adds on to the customer profile. The habits, this is where we learn from. Now, while these are the advancements in technologies, I forgot one. One is AR and VR. Now that AR and VR are coming up, you will be able to engage with the customers much better. You're able to create a scenario where they're able to experience the product before they buy it. So these technologies are there to help. Then there are some responsibilities that you have. Now, because customer data is what is the game changer here, however many technologies you use on top of that. But that data is your responsibility to protect now. So privacy and security of that customer data is something that we all have to invest heavily in. You know, like you spoke of end-to-end encryption that you guys are working on. So this is the next one. I think the last, but not the least, the shift in trend is the sustainability that every customer is moving towards. The preferences and the choices that they're making are conscious of the environment, conscious of what the brand represents, what their communication strategy is. Everything ties out together in this advancement of technology and trend.
No, that's fantastic. Irshad, would you like to chime in on your thoughts as well on this topic?
Yeah. Well, I think Angad has very well covered everything. Perhaps the only thing that I would like to add on is the multiverse, and which is also, I know this was the talk of the town maybe 3 years back, but this is going to regain the momentum pretty soon, and I see reasons why. Number one, I know one of my colleague from Stanford, he is running a startup of the multiverse, and back there in Canada and US, he's actually selling a solution to the universities and colleges so that all of the classroom experience can pretty much be done virtually. He has created the holograms wherein the teacher does not necessarily need to present to the physical room, but the same presence can be done virtually. So there's a lot of and a lot of use cases, not just in the college and universities. I think the multiverse will have a lot of use cases, be it in presenting yourself to the meetings, presenting yourself from one geography to another geography, and hence what. So I guess that is one technology I'm super excited about, and not only in the corporate context or a university context, but also from the customer experience point of view. I think this is also going to be a game changer. And AI, Gen AI, a lot of people have spoken. We have also spoken. I think this is a technology that we should really use, and this is how I would like to sum up my conversation. I think this is the technology. I see a lot of companies, like what Rajneesh mentioned, the quality itself is completely transformed. If you want to really find out who has done, what is the analysis. So instead of listening to the 30 minutes of a conversation that your agent had with the customer, if you simply ask a prompt, how was the overall call? Was it positive or negative? It's going to give you that result. We have seen H&M has really, by using the artificial intelligence, it has actually created the virtual experience of creating the outfits. Starbucks, you can actually go and order them via social media accounts. So there are a lot of, I was reading an article from Google, and this is the public information that is available. There are about 101 companies that have already been using generative AIs as we speak. It's on us. Where are we on those? Whether are we on those 101? Are we on the path of evaluating these to increase the efficiency of what we do, how we do? Or we still want to watch it before it really becomes the mature?
Can I take 30 seconds, Aditya?
Yeah, please.
So thank you for prompting me. But simple things. So since virtually 100% of you said you're using Zoom, but now if I correlate what was not there maybe a year, 2 years ago, and what can you do thanks to AI, there is an AI companion, in fact, which in fact Zoom is offering free of cost. So if you have a bot license, then AI companion now automatically comes along. And within that AI companion, so say for example, I'm 10 minutes late for a meeting. There's a video meeting already happening, and I'm 10 minutes late. Actually, I can ask the AI assistant, companion, to tell me where my name was. Even before I join into the meeting, I can check out the summary of what was discussed. Where was my name mentioned earlier on? So is there already a to-do item for me behind my back, etc., etc. Post the meeting, rather than listening to a recording of 1 hour or whatever, I can actually ask my AI companion to give me a summary. So I don't need to go through all the points and and so on and so forth. So small things I'm just touching given the time paucity. But yeah, AI is the core of the roadmap of any smart product now, I guess.
Thank you, Rata. It's a great insight about what Zoom is doing now.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I think Apple is going to fuel it by having the multiverse headset that they are coming up.
And be careful,
lot-
Salesforce, they're coming for you.
I'm taking notes as we go along. uh, also, and for the final question, for today, it's for you, Krishna Kant. I would love to understand, if we look at security and privacy, right? What are some of the key considerations the audience should keep in mind when trying to implement their omni-channel strategy?
Yeah, so the time is really very much dynamic, and a lot of new things is happening across the environment where omni-channel experience, everyone is talking, Gen AI, everyone is talking, and the most critical aspect is that how you have to ensure your data, because your data is not coming from one environment. We are having multiple environments which is integrated through multiple APIs. You needed to ensure that your APIs are encrypted or not. Your APIs are having proper API, your API libraries are fully synchronized and having the correct data or not, and considering the new laws related to DPDP or GDPR, you needed to ensure that what type of data is going out and how someone is going to read data from your environment, and how you can ensuring that your data is not exposed to any of the external world without having proper authentication methods. So when we are doing a chat with my bank, that at that time we should be ensuring that the proper authentication method has been implemented in place or not. That particular person is the right type of person or not. Sometime when we are finding that the critical data is getting leaked, we needed to ensure that our security system in place, and they should have enough encryption to make sure that my data is not going out in any way. Multiple OTPs could be okay, but MFA or ZTNA type of environment should be given for the critical data, and when we are accessing data to the next environment. Like in our case, we are having APIs with Tata Motors, with the Maruti, with the Volvo Eicher, with the railway. So a lot of data security is required, and we needed to ensure that my various platforms should work in a seamless, coordinated manner, and all the data should be secure enough. DP is very much critical, and we needed to ensure that we should comply with the legal laws. That's from my side.
Thank you for that. So, since you're running out of time, before seeing if there's any Q&A, I did want to, thank all of you, and then also, just summarize, right, some of the key themes that I heard, right. Starting from this side of the table, we heard how important data is, right, and making sure that you have a 360-degree view of the data to help personalize experiences. Is paramount. From a data security perspective, authentication, right, and making sure that data is being shared securely is important, especially in highly I would say regulated industries. We got a bit of a history lesson as well from our panelists. When chatbots and Gen AI came into existence, and more importantly, making sure that we leverage those technologies. I think that's something that all of the leaders here will have to ask themselves, hey, are you going to sit back and wait and see what happens, or be at the forefront of using those technologies? And then finally, how do you make sure that you're not just thinking about efficiency and cost reduction, but really converting the whole customer experience and contact center into a revenue generating organization, and then communicating that to your leadership becomes really vital to get resourcing and budget. I think those are some amazing lessons from the panel today. So I want to thank all of them once again. A round of applause,
Thank you,
please.
Aditya.
And yeah, if there's any questions, I don't know if we have time for Q&A.
Yes, only one Q&A, please.
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah, please. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thank you so much. I think it was very enlightening for all of you to get a lot of perspective around omni-channel there. I hope I'm audible, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So my question was more related towards the large action models. Now, we've been talking about LLMs, great. I think the next trend which is really shaping up is the LAMs. Uh, why I see this is a very significant development is I'm starting to question whether omni-channel really makes sense in a LAM kind of an environment. There will be integrations for sure, but in a LAM environment, if you're looking at basically an agent being able to do multiple things on just one query across multiple channels, is that something that you foresee moving forward from that angle? And second is, what is the impact that you see if in case it happens? Just any one of you.
Anyone want to take this?
So yes, of course, there is going to be an impact as this technology evolves. If I look at it from the other side, from the organization's perspective, actually most of the large organizations, while we are talking of the customer contacting us, if I am the leader in that organization, my first attempt is that the customer doesn't have a need to call us. So I want to zeroize the calling in need first. That's my first priority because that's my least cost method. And then I take into the productivity tools and making sure that the customer contact is better or not. So yeah, of course, the answer to your straight answer is yes. That is to be expected.
And I'd like to quickly add to that. So, obviously, there's no harm in implementing that, but what really comes as a question is, what is the ROI for it, right? Let's say my agent interaction, one ticket or one call cost me a certain amount of money. Last I checked, 50, 52 rupees, whatever it costs you. Now, the implementation of LAMP, when does it pay back? Not just in the customer experience, of course, I mean, there is a value attached to that as well, but in terms of the money that I'm recoup from that investment, how soon or how quick that happens is the next question that my leadership will ask me. So that's something that we'll have to take in consideration.
Any more? Are we at time?
There was another question, I think.
Like if there is any further Q&A, I request to please take it in the networking break.
Let me ask that. So my question was, and it comes from a basic tenet of, say, the customer. When you have a brand, product or a service, whatever, there's a fundamental reason why the customer is choosing that brand, product or service. For example, there is a particular reason why I go to a PVR and I may not be going to somewhere else. Now, what if that reason is in complete opposition to the advancements that you're making to your CX? Are you getting my question, I hope? I am not directing it to anybody. Is there a consideration you make, because in this race of advancements and better technology and all of that, what if you lose that fundamental reason because of which the customer had chosen you? For example, I'll give an example, Zoom. I think maximum older generations, say my parents or everybody got onto Zoom the easiest and always liked that because it was so simple to use. Now, I'm not sure with all the advancement that you're making, you're losing that fundamental RTB, the reason to buy. So is there a consideration you make to that? It is directed to anybody, I mean, whoever can.
Okay, let me start by, let me threadbare your question first. I think what you are asking is, let's say you have more channels available right now for entertainment, and why will you go back to a cinema? Is that the question? Or you are saying that the tech has improved in the cinemas, but you don't, you are one of the audience who may or may not like that advancement in tech. Is that
Right.
your question?
So the question is this, that there were some reasons because of which I chose. My brand love is due to a certain reason. And what if you're changing the fundamental nature or the brand core, and I will no more like you, you know. So are you considering that as well?
I don't think any brand is changing the core. Core is always there. We are only building up over and above what used to be there. So whatever you see, I mean, whether you see cinemas today, whether you see Zoom today, the fundamentals are same. You still go watch a movie sitting in a dark place, ultimately. You have top-ups there. Exactly the example of Zoom. You still have the similar capability that we used to use in 2020. It's just that more advancements are there. So it is for you to have more experiential environment rather than your basics are not taking, nobody is taking away the basics.
There are plenty of brands which are being voted out because they're losing their core. We see that every day.
Let me quickly add to that. There is a point of view here. Before 2007, right? Let's say marketing. Let's talk marketing, for example. Marketing obviously used to take care of what customers want, right? That was the fundamental of marketing. Know what customers want, deliver that. End of story. 2007, something changed. Apple introduced the iPhone. Amazon launched Kindle. Starbucks made some announcements, I'm not sure. Google came up with a lot of new technology. So now here, the whole narrative of what marketing used to be before 2007 to now has changed. Now marketing is about customer education. Educate the customers what they want next. You know, and to answer your question, I'm not sure what brands may be losing that, but an effective strategy, an effective use of technology would actually enhance your experience. It will actually make it even better. I mean, even something that you may not have experienced before, may have not wanted before, but that is the effective strategy. If that is failing somewhere, then the technology advancement is not being utilized properly. It doesn't mean the technology is bad. It's just that it's not been used properly.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're at time. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for being a lovely host, and what a patient audience. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot to all the panel members for sharing your thoughts and insights on the importance of adoption of omni-channel customer strategy for seamless customer engagement and experience. I request Mr. Aditya Singh, our moderator, to please felicitate his co-panelists, starting with Mr. Vikram Singh, Head of Customer Experience at PVR Limited. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? Mr. Krishna Mishra, Head of Information Technology at Subros Limited. Mr. Rajneesh Virmani, CIO Advisor at Zoom. Mr. Irshad Safi, Director IT and Digitization, CDIO at Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Company. And Mr. Angad Wadia, VP of Operations and Customer Excellence and Head of Strategic Initiatives at Bajaj Capital,